I was thinking about how in my life, relationships have helped me with regards to spiritual growth. I experienced it recently. Alex came to visit me. I had COVID 8 weeks ago, 9 weeks ago now, and was hospitalized with a really severe case of pneumonia. And it was a little tricky the first couple of days I was in the hospital. And of course, you're completely isolated on the COVID ward. And so Alex got in as being a pastor, but they don't let you have any visitors. I actually had one guy in a nurse in a full-on like hazmat suit. And he came into my room in the middle of the night. I thought it was a vision at first. And he was like, can I help you? I was like, no, don't touch a button. You're gonna kill me. Because he had these fat fingers in a suit. But after I was in for a couple of days, I got just loved my nurses and doctors. They were lifesavers. But one of the nurses said, your friends have helped us so much. Wow. Because I have some long-term friends in Nashville, and even though they couldn't come up on the COVID floor, they were just, they were all in, and they were downstairs, and they would bribe nurses to come bring me notes and treats. Wow. And they were just all in. Actually, after I was in for a week, by the grace of God, I got my lungs back and could breathe. When we left the hospital, it was pouring down rain. I had a friend standing in the, just in the median, the grassy median, outside the hospital, just raising her hand. She had found out I'm being released, and she's like, I don't care if it's storming. I'm gonna give testimony that God has given her breath. But this nurse said, Lisa, we don't experience a lot of connection up here because we're so isolated on the COVID ward. And she said, the fact that you had community, they were so persistent in making sure you were cared for, making sure you knew they were there. And I said, by the grace of God, I have people who, when I'm lying flat, literally or figuratively, who say, we'll grab a corner of her mat and we'll raise her to the roof and lower her to Jesus. And she said something that just arrested me. She said, we have found in this setting in the hospital that relationship makes a difference between life and death. Wow. And I thought, that has been true of my life spiritually as well. There have been seasons in my life that I'm not sure I could have stayed faithful had it not been for some friends who told me hard truths, who were there in the dark when I didn't look so pretty or I wasn't doing anything that was laudable, but they just said, basically, we've got your back. I love it when Peter, he's just betrayed the Christ, and he's confused at the beginning of John chapter 21, and he says, I'm going fishing. Right. Days after his betrayal. Yeah. And there's this tiny little verse fragment that I'm like, man, we could preach on that for months. And it says the other 10, they'd lost Judas by then, but the other 10 said, we'll go with you. Yeah. Wow. They didn't chastise him. They didn't say, you need to go to a 12-step program and get some training and repent, come back to us in a year, and we'll see if we let you back in our God squad. They just said, we'll go with you. One of my favorite, I love all these recently passed away theologians. I have platonic crushes on the dead guys. But one of my favorites is a guy named Francis Schaeffer, and he wrote, our relationship with each other is the criterion the world uses to judge whether our message is truthful. Christian community is the final apologetic. Wow. How have y'all's friends helped you grow, kind of scooted you closer to Jesus?
I wouldn't be here without my relationships and my friendships and my sisterhoods, that I have. They have been the ones to speak truth to me. They have been the ones to step into my messes with me and say, we may wag a finger and go, your picker is off. You need to pray about that and work on that. Yeah. But at the same time, they're the same ones that when it was time for me to move from the farm that I lived on for 20 years or more at the time, and pack up all of my belongings because I was going through a marital status change. And my heart was just so in the dumps. And I'm like, God, I've served you. I've traveled on your behalf. I've written songs about you. And never did I lie, speaking the truth of who you were. But here I am now, and I'm a single mom. What do I say? What do I do? And I wasn't feeling so I didn't feel like a post, But these same friends were there packing up my junk and my stuff and cleaning out my attic and, you know, putting stuff in boxes and labeling them. And there I am sitting on the floor after a while, just being overwhelmed with 20-something years of stuff, you know, and I don't know what to do. And they're like, we got you. You know, they're the same ones who like prayed over me and talked me through and came over and sat in the kitchen and just chilled, you know. And so I wouldn't be here today without real relationships, not just pseudo, how many friends do you have on social media? And I love my friends out there, you know what I'm saying? But to me, the real is those who will actually come and be there, the tangible, those who will really, like you said earlier, carry your mat, you know, and take you to Jesus and say, here's your daughter, you know, I'm coming with her. And right now, all she has are sobs. She's Hannah right now. She doesn't have any articulate words. She doesn't have a fancy song, but she has some tears. Can you understand tear ease right now? Can you understand her heart? You know, and they were diligent to do that with me and for me. And I, you know, I think the
Don't
Lord
you
of
love those friends who don't look away when you cry, but lean in? I mean, that's a real friend.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe today and you'll never miss a new upload.
And don't forget to check out our Better Together shop. Thanks for being a part of our community.